Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about why isometric training is the ideal form of resistance training to support rapid fat loss. Now, why would you engage in rapid fat loss? Well, by keeping the speed of the fat loss quick at a high level, you will stay more motivated psychologically, you'll be more rewarded for your discomfort, but also it prevents your body from having as much of a chance to engage in metabolic slowdown, depressing your basal metabolic rate so that you don't burn as many calories, which is something that happens in prolonged diets. So something like a fat loss sprint, where you're eating a bunch of protein to support your lean body mass, but reducing everything else down to the bare minimum, if not nothing at all. And you're engaged in that for something like 2 weeks. Even a week can be productive here, and you can lose a whole bunch of fat. When you're doing this though, you really want to maintain as much of your lean body mass, particularly your muscle mass, as possible, as that helps support your metabolic health, so that when you've lost all that fat, you then don't regain it right back, or even more than you lost, and put yourself in a worse position, because now you're fatter with less muscle, more likely to gain more fat. So in something like a fat loss sprint protocol, you really want to engage in resistance training. A lot of people make the mistake of increasing the volume of resistance training they're doing during a fat loss attempt. This is a terrible idea, because the attempt to lose fat through a caloric deficit is already imposing a ton of stress on your body. Increasing your training volume, is going to add even more stress into the system, and there's a good chance that it's going to sort of surpass your body's threshold ability to deal with that stress by adapting, and cause it to sort of retreat into its fat stores, to say, like, we need to hold on to these. Clearly this environment is too dangerous, too unpredictable. Fat stores represent our insurance policy in case we can't find food. So this stressful environment, we want to hold on to our fat. Now, obviously your body doesn't talk to itself like that, but it in a sense it does, with the way that it signals with its hormones and things like that. We want to avoid that. So on a fat loss sprint protocol, you want to reduce your resistance training down to the absolute bare minimum that you can do that will still maintain muscle for you. Now, what a lot of people recommend here is something like 2 full body routines done per week, targeting all the major movement patterns, hitting all the major muscles, training very close to, if not all the way to failure, say like 2 sets per exercise. So a very sort of abbreviated, compared to the traditional approach many people take, it's a very abbreviated approach. I think we can improve on it. I think we can improve on it very simply by shifting a lot of that resistance training time and energy over to isometric training. And there's a simple reason for that. Dynamic training, even when you're doing a reduced volume of dynamic training, you're still putting a lot of stress on your body. You're adding more stress into a system that's already highly stressed. The more stress you add into the system, the lower your body's ability to productively respond to the stress that it already has. Ideally, what we would do is exactly the right kind and amount of resistance training to signal our body to maintain the muscle it has, and then add no other stresses to it than the caloric deficit that we're imposing upon it, thus giving your body as many resources as it possibly could gain access to deal with a limited amount, but an acute stressor, that being the caloric deficit. That is where you're going to have the best results in terms of fat loss. Well, lo and behold, the perfect kind of resistance training does exist, and it's called isometric training. Even though there is some dispute whether isometric training is as productive as dynamic training in terms of building new muscle, almost nobody who knows anything about it will claim that isometric training isn't perfectly suitable for maintaining muscle mass. So engage in isometric training, you're able to maintain your muscle mass, but you're able to do it without adding a whole lot of extra stress into the system. Dynamic training does cause damage to your muscles. Damage to your muscles results in cortisol release. The more cortisol you have in your body, the more prone your body is to hold on to or add to its fat stores. By removing the lion's share, the large proportion of the muscle damage portion of the training equation, which is what isometric training does, we now have the signal to maintain muscle without all of the added stress that dynamic training imposes. So, what is the protocol I would recommend? Go into a fat loss sprint, and during that time, I would recommend engaging in some sort of horizontal push version of an isometric, some sort of vertical push variation of an isometric, horizontal pull, vertical pull, then some sort of leg exercise that targets the squatting movement. This could be like a wall squat or something like that. And something that targets the hip hinge style of movement. Something like a deadlift, single leg deadlift done sort of isometric style. These will all work. And then you can also add in some sort of bicep curl variations, some sort of tricep extension variation. If you're overly concerned about your arms, not even overly, if you're appropriately concerned about your arms, let's say, and you might add in something for your abdominals or lower back as you see fit. Though I don't think those would absolutely be necessary. The time that you would spend on them, I would recommend a minimum of 30 seconds per exercise. That would be something like 3 sets of 10 seconds done at close to your maximum voluntary contraction. So about 30 seconds minimum, up to maybe 2 minutes total if you really want to push it for a long amount of time. But I think probably one of the best approaches you could take here would be a time static contraction approach, where you spend 1 minute on each exercise, 20 seconds about at 50% contraction, 20 more seconds at 75% contraction, and the final 20 seconds at 100% contraction. And then move on. So that's 1 minute per exercise. You're looking at maybe a 10-minute exercise routine, and I would recommend doing that about 3 times a week. So it's a total of 30 minutes of exercise per week. Another approach you might take would be to do your isometric workout twice a week, and then do a dynamic workout using very similar movements but done dynamically once a week, just to maintain your familiarity, your skill with those movements, and to work your body through a range of motion so that you don't lose any of that mobility. And there you go. Very simple. It's going to clock in well under an hour of total resistance training time per week. It's going to add very little stress to the system that is unnecessary stress, but it's going to do a fantastic job of maintaining the muscle you have, which is going to set you up for more success in keeping the fat off and in gaining muscle post diet and in subsequent fat loss phases that you might engage. All right, if you're interested more in this style of fat loss, I just created a new program, Synergy Strength Shape Up. You'll find the link down below. It's on super sale for the first couple weeks, I think. So please check that out. If you have any questions or anything like that, of course, drop them in the comments. I appreciate all the support, and have a fantastic day.